Hey everyone, and welcome back to the TikTok Magazine channel. What if I told you that by the end of this decade, your dream could be closer to reality than you ever imagined? We're diving deep into the future of space tourism, exploring how it's evolving beyond luxury yachts and becoming accessible to everyone. Today, we're breaking down the cold, hard costs of space and revealing the tech that will finally drop the price tag. Let's figure out when you can afford a seat. First, we have to understand what we're buying. Space tourism has two tiers, and the price difference is astronomical. This is the market currently dominated by companies like Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin. You go up, cross the Kármán line, the arbitrary boundary of space at 100 kilometers, you get a few minutes of weightlessness, and you come right back down. The price, currently sitting between $250,000 and $450,000 per seat. That's a luxury car price, still steep, but it's a tiny fraction of the alternative. This is where SpaceX and Axiom Space play. You're not just going up and down, you're staying up there, orbiting Earth, maybe even visiting the ISS. This requires monumental speed and complexity. The cost here ranges from $50 million up to $70 million per seat for a short stay on the ISS. The difference is the technology and the physics involved. We need a fundamental shift to bring that number down. So, how do we get those astronomical prices down to something closer to a luxury cruise? The answer isn't magic. It's exponentially better engineering. The biggest cost driver in old-school spaceflight was throwing away a multi-million-dollar rocket after one use. It was like buying a brand-new 747 for a single flight. Reusable rockets changed the entire equation. SpaceX's Starship is the ultimate example. It's designed to be fully and rapidly reusable. If they can launch, land, and relaunch that massive vehicle hundreds of times a year, the cost is amortized over thousands of passengers. The industry analysis suggests that if a vehicle's lifespan extends from 120 flights to 1,000 flights, the ticket price could plummet toward the $80,000 range for suborbital flights. The math is simple. Volume kills price. The second price killer is accommodation. Companies like Axiom Space and even concepts from Orion's Span are building commercial, modular space stations. When space becomes a destination with multiple providers, costs fall dramatically. Think of it like this. When the first commercial planes flew, tickets were absurd. Once you had the Boeing 747, reusability plus volume, and the Hilton, commercial destination, travel changed forever. Space is just hitting that inflection point. We all know Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, and SpaceX, but the real democratization of space is happening with companies you might not have heard of who are targeting the luxury car price point. Look at Space Perspective or Worldview Enterprises. These aren't rockets, they are gigantic, gentle space balloons. They take you high into the stratosphere, not true space, but high enough to see the blackness and the curvature of the Earth in a pressurized capsule. These companies are fostering the competition that will ultimately drive prices toward that $50,000 to $100,000 range, which is the historical sweet spot for truly opening up a market beyond the 0.01%. So, the million-dollar question. When does it become a reality for you, the everyday tech-savvy person, maybe making a great living but not a billionaire? The cost is significantly lower, around $125,000 per seat, and the experience is much longer and less physically demanding. It's opening up a whole new, less elite market. They are not just running taxi services to the ISS, they are building the first commercial space station. The more commercial and less government-dependent the destinations become, the more their prices will drop forcing competitors to follow suit. These companies are fostering the competition that will ultimately drive prices toward that $50,000 to $100,000 range, which is the historical sweet spot for truly opening up a market beyond the 0.01%. So, the million-dollar question: when does it become a reality for you, the everyday, tech-savvy person, maybe making a great living but not a billionaire? Prices remain high. Orbital, $50 million plus. Suborbital, $250,000 plus. It's paying for the pioneer experience. This is the game-changer decade. Full reusability hits its stride. Competition from 3 or 4 major orbital providers drives prices for short suborbital flights down to the $50,000 to $100,000 range. Analysts project that with non-chemical rocket propulsion or hyper-efficient systems, long-term orbital stays could drop to prices comparable to a first-class international flight, maybe $10,000 to $20,000 for a suborbital trip. That means the tipping point for the high-end consumer is likely within the next 7 to 10 years. The dream is closer than you think, but you have to know which companies are betting on true accessibility. We need a reality check. 3 major hurdles are keeping that price tag from plummeting right now. Every failure, every accident tightens government regulation, which increases cost and slows down development. The industry is currently self-regulating on safety until the FAA determines it's mature enough for stricter oversight. You need more than rockets. You need spaceports, training facilities, and emergency services. This is a massive infrastructure build that requires immense private investment. The truly cheap space travel, the one that costs $2,000, might require next-generation tech like air-breathing hypersonic first stages or non-rocket launch systems, which are still decades away from commercial viability. So, as a specialist in the tech space, where should you be looking? Look at the companies building the infrastructure, Axiom Space, Spaceports, and the companies perfecting full reusability, SpaceX, Stoke Space, etc. That's where the long-term opportunity and the cost reduction lies. Space tourism is no longer a question of if, but when. The journey from $55 million to $50,000 is happening right now, driven by sheer technological determination. Would you take a suborbital flight for $100,000 tomorrow? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the technologies reshaping our future.